You know that feeling when you say something completely reasonable, and somehow the other person walks away thinking you were rude? You weren't yelling. You weren't being mean. You were just talking. And yet somehow the conversation blew up, or went cold, or left you feeling like something went wrong and you have no idea what it was. That feeling is exhausting. And if you're here watching this, I already know you've been through it more than once. Maybe it happened at work. You gave feedback to a colleague and they got defensive. You spoke up in a meeting and someone said you seemed harsh. Maybe it happened at home. You tried to express how you felt and the person you love most looked at you like you were attacking them. And you weren't. You genuinely weren't. But that gap between what you meant and what they heard, that gap cost you something. A relationship, a promotion, a moment of connection that just slipped away. Here's what nobody tells you. The problem isn't what you're saying. The problem is the invisible layer underneath the words. And once you understand what that layer is, everything changes. Not in a vague motivational poster kind of way, concretely, practically, in real conversations in real time. Now, before we go deeper into this, I need to tell you something important. We have a program linked in the description below this video. I'm not going to pressure you into anything. Honestly, most people who watch this will probably skip it, but if you're someone who's serious about making real change in how you communicate, not just learning a tip or two, but actually rewiring the way people experience you, then you should look at it now before it's gone. Not everyone who needs it will get access to it, and that's just the reality. So if something in you is already saying yes, trust that. The link is below. Now, let's get into this. Think about the last time someone spoke to you and you immediately felt judged. They didn't curse at you, they didn't raise their voice. But something about the way they said it made you shut down, made you go defensive, made you want to leave the room. That happened because of something called vocal subtext. It's the emotional signal that travels underneath the actual words. And here's the wild part. Research in communication science consistently shows that tone, pace, and the physical energy behind words carry more weight than the words themselves. People don't respond to your vocabulary. They respond to what they feel when you speak. And most people, including maybe you right now, have no idea what signal they're actually sending. Here's where it gets painful. You've probably been told your whole life to just be more confident, speak up, be direct, say what you mean, and you tried that, and it backfired. Because confidence without calibration reads as aggression. Directness without warmth reads as coldness. Saying what you mean without knowing how it lands turns you into someone people brace themselves for, even when you have the best intentions in the world. I want you to think about someone in your life who communicates in a way that makes you feel safe. Safe enough to be honest with them, safe enough to disagree with them, safe enough to just be yourself. How do they do it? What is it about them? It's not that they're soft or that they avoid hard conversations. It's that they have this quality where even difficult things feel like they're on your side when they say them. That quality has a name. It's called clarity with warmth. And it is a learnable skill, not a personality trait, a skill. Let's break down exactly what's happening in conversations where you come across as aggressive without meaning to. First, your pace. When you're anxious, stressed, or when you feel like you need to get your point across fast because you're afraid of being interrupted, your speech accelerates. And a fast pace in conversation triggers something primitive in the listener's brain. It reads as threat. Their nervous system actually starts to activate a stress response. They're not choosing to get defensive, they're being pushed there physiologically by the speed of your delivery. Slowing down by even 20% changes how the entire message is received. Not because you're dumbing it down, because you're giving the listener's brain time to process instead of react. Second, your sentence endings. This is one of the most overlooked things in human communication. When your voice rises at the end of a statement, it signals uncertainty. When it drops, it signals authority. But here's the trap. When you're speaking with conviction and your sentences end with a sharp downward inflection, it can feel like a gavel, like a verdict. Like you've decided something and their opinion doesn't matter. The fix is a gentle level ending. Your voice stays steady. It doesn't go up, it doesn't slam down. It lands. Softly. Like you're placing a thought on the table for discussion, not nailing it to the wall. Third, and this is the one that costs people the most, your eye contact pattern. Specifically what happens in the moment right after you say something hard. Most people, when they say something uncomfortable or direct, look away. They break eye contact because they're bracing for the reaction. But what the other person sees is dismissal. It looks like you said something and don't care how it landed. Holding soft, present eye contact in the 2 seconds after a challenging statement communicates something crucial. It says, I'm still here. I'm not throwing this at you and running. I'm in this with you. These 3 things, pace, sentence endings, and post-statement eye contact, are not small adjustments. They are complete identity shifts in how other people experience you. People who master these three things go from being described as aggressive, intimidating, or hard to talk to being described as grounded, trustworthy, and someone I can really talk to. That is not a small change. That is how your entire social and professional life transforms. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're in a conversation that matters, a performance review, a difficult conversation with someone you love, a negotiation, a moment where you need to say something true and you need it to land. Right now, without these tools, that conversation is a coin flip. Sometimes it goes okay, sometimes it goes sideways. And you spend hours or even days replaying what happened, trying to figure out where it went wrong, wondering if there's something wrong with you. Now imagine that same conversation after you've internalized what we're talking about. You slow down, not dramatically, just enough to let the air breathe. Your words land softly instead of cutting. You hold the space after you speak. You're not bracing for a fight. You're just there, present, clear, warm. And the other person feels it. They don't know exactly what's different, but they feel safer. They open up instead of shutting down. The conversation reaches somewhere real. And you walk away not exhausted and anxious, but actually connected, actually heard, actually effective. That is not a fantasy. That is a result. And people who build this skill report changes that compound fast. Relationships that were stuck start moving. Professional opportunities that were invisible start appearing. People start using the word magnetic to describe them without being able to explain why. Because they can't explain it, but you will know exactly why. Now let's talk about something that trips people up constantly. The difference between assertiveness and aggression, because this is where so many people get lost, especially those who are told to be more confident. Assertiveness is about knowing what you need and expressing it in a way that respects both you and the other person. Aggression is about getting your need met regardless of what happens to the other person. The line between them is not about volume. It's not about word choice. It's about whether the other person feels seen in the interaction. Even in conflict, even when you're holding a firm boundary, even when you're saying no, the moment someone feels invisible in a conversation, they stop listening to your content and start reacting to your presence. You can be saying the most reasonable, logical, correct thing in the world, and if they feel erased, nothing you say will land. Here is a simple question you can ask yourself in real time before you say something difficult. Would I want to receive this the way I'm about to deliver it? Not the content, the delivery, the pace, the tone, the energy. Would you want to be on the receiving end of exactly what you're about to put into the world? If the honest answer is no, pause. Breathe, adjust, then speak. That pause is not weakness. That pause is the most powerful thing you can do in a high-stakes conversation. It is the difference between someone who reacts and someone who leads. And people who lead conversations consistently, they don't get stuck, they get trusted. Here's what I know about you. You're not someone who wants to hurt people. You never were. You just want to be understood. You want to say the things that are true for you and have them received the way you meant them. You want connection without conflict, directness without damage, confidence without walls going up around you. That is not too much to ask. That is communication done right. And everything we've talked about today is the beginning. The pace, the sentence endings, the eye contact, the assertiveness versus aggression distinction. The simple question you ask yourself before speaking, this is the foundation. But there is a whole architecture above this foundation. Layers of nuance, specific techniques for specific situations, and trained pattern recognition that lets you read a room in seconds and adjust in real time. That is what the program in the description is built for. And I'll be straight with you. If you're thinking you'll figure this out on your own over time, that's valid. Most people do try that, and most people are still having the same conversations 5 years from now that they're having today. But if you're done waiting, if you're ready to actually have this, not someday but now, the link is below. Don't overthink it. People who overthink this decision consistently tell us they wish they had just acted sooner. The work is ready,